for our outpost, and look, it's old days. Access.
Look at that, see? They bring all orders now.
See, London, Paris, Moscow, Snake River for outpost, and Montreal, North Americans. Oh, this is what they used. This is what they used. See, this is what they used. And oh, look, it's a beaver. See these people and. Look at that. Oh, I was in Canada. Beaver, beaver. Ooh, we can touch this. This is beaver for work. Here, guys. That one's. Tomahawk. Don't touch it, bro. Look. Some other stuff. British. These. Tomahawk. Barrels. High wine. Tobacco with that. Look. Some more other stuff. This is where they.
Lawsuit was filed in Montreal by John Connolly,
The baby.
son of William Connolly, former
Native
chief factor,
Americans.
Hudson's Bay Company, and Suzanne, a Creek Indian. Named as the defendant in the lawsuit was Julia Woolridge, John's stepmother. Connolly's claim was that William and Suzanne had been legally married, and that he, John, was therefore entitled to a portion of his late father's estate. The justice presiding over the case was Samuel Seymour of the Superior Court of Quebec.
Valuable equipment.
Oh, God, dude, look.
That's. Just wait, dude. Oh, that. Oh, it's the old gun. So, it's customized. Look. That's what horses carry. Looks, oh, it's where they hunt. This it's a gun. It's a Vaskalgin gun. It's old. That. I just want to see more of the other side. Oh, look. More other stuff. Like fur.
The 11:30 tour is ready to begin.
Of course, the whole reason why we come here. Back in 1804, this is the fur trade. So what that really means, we're coming out here, we're building a store for the native.
Okay, thank you.
The Ojibwe house called a wigwam. Wigwam just means birch bark house. You can see the outside covered in layer bark. This particular wigwam, this is for the winter time, so it's shaped like this. Throughout the rest of the year, the Ojibwe are living in a dome-shaped house, more like that. Could you imagine this house in the winter around here, though? With 3 feet of snow on your birch bark roof, it end up looking something like that. This house, no place on top of the snow to sit, slides down the edges. Then the other thing that makes this good for the winter, this has the first layer of bark on it. It's actually going to end up with 2 layers of bark and then a thick layer of moss and grass between those 2 layers. Insulating, trapping all the warm air on the inside, keeping the cold out. We can go inside, go take a look. You can sit down on the blanket for here and I'll tell you more about it.
I can look.
People sleep in here, see? Wow.
That could be a problem for someone. So, we'll sit this here for the moment. The Ojibwe, they're what's known as a semi-nomadic people. So they're traveling around from place to place, but always back to the same places. So each family is going to have anywhere from 5 to 7 different houses like this scattered around the area.
Okay.
One winter house, the rest of those dome-shaped ones, they're going to leave the frame standing and take the coverings off so they don't get damaged.
Okay, okay.
But the basic idea is to put one house at each major food resource, and then that way you don't have to wake up in the morning and walk 5 or 10 miles before doing your work for the day. Your work's sitting right there. Now, some of the major resources in the spring of the year. The first place you go to after leaving this house, the sugar bush, where all the maple trees are.
Oh, okay.
Have you had maple syrup before?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yep.
The same thing. The Ojibwe, every family is going to
Alright, let's go this way.
Look at this.
the fur coat itself. When we arrive in the fall of the year, none of this is sitting here waiting for us.
Story.
So what do you think? How would you like to live in here?
Maybe like weekend camping.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Now, working as a voyager, really, this isn't too bad. In 1804, your different choices in work, I mean, most of voyagers were the second, the third, the fourth sons of farmers from around the Montreal area. So, you know, that means, right, you're not going to inherit anything. The oldest son, in this time period, the parents are going to give the farm everything they own to him. So you could work for your older brother on his farm the rest of your life or whatever he decides to pay you until he decides to throw you off because he's got enough kids of his own to work on them. So a couple more beds, so 8 beds in all for the voyagers. The fireplace, this is where we're going to be doing our cooking, have our meals, we can play games, we'll bring a couple decks of cards. There's a cribbage board, we'll make a game of draughts, the checkers. Good ways to entertain ourselves, tell stories and sing songs. Now, the men in here, of course, they get to sleep by the fire. The 2 highest ranking of the voyagers, okay? The Avant, the Gouverneur. The front of the big canoe, the back of the big canoe.
Oh, okay.
Everyone in there is the Malou, the middleman.
Okay, yeah.
Now, the Malou, when we're on the big canoe like the one you saw inside, their job, very straightforward. All they need to do is paddle. About 50 to 60 strokes per minute, all day long, break every 3 hours for about 15 minutes. And that's how we're paddling to get up to Puerto Nisqua in about 8 weeks. Now, if you've done that long enough, you could get a promotion, become the Avant instead. Sit at the front of the canoe. Now, he's paddling just like everyone else, but he's the one setting the pace. So instead of just paddling, he's going to paddle and sing as he does. Everyone paddles along with the rhythm is sung. And then, of course, he's at the front of the canoe. He's also the one watching where we're going. Could you imagine running into a rock with a birch bark canoe? Not a good day for anyone. Particularly, most voyageurs don't know how to swim. This is a European thing in general. Most Europeans don't know how to swim. I mean, water is unhealthy, right? You don't want to be in that. That's the same reason that rich woman's only taking today's standards. He'd be like a millionaire. Let's go around and take a look and see how he lives. Welcome man coming out into the wilderness,
Watch, I'm over here just recording. Okay, wait. Kim.
Pretty nice to be the one in charge, though, right? Could you imagine? I'm eating off of wooden plates. He brings a plate all the way from China to here. Back in 1804. Can you imagine putting this on a boat in China, first bringing it to London, then to Montreal, then by canoe the rest of the way? How much this is going to cost? How many of them are going to break by the time they're here? He can afford this. He is, after all, I mean, this wealthy, right? Able to afford the science. His fancier clothes. By comparison, as a voyageur, the company restricts what I can bring. I'm only allowed 40 pounds of personal belongings. 40 pounds, which, I mean, I don't really own much more than that. My clothes, my blankets, my things to eat with, that's pretty much it. Monsieur Serre, on the other hand, well, he needs to bring all his luxuries out. The company does restrict him. He can't bring anything he wants. He's only allowed 750 pounds of his belongings. A little bit better. Most of that is actually going to be extra food.
Oh,
I mean, his plates, his clothes, they don't weigh that much. He's going to bring potatoes and onions, though. Much better than eating just meat and wild rice. His wife and two of their children are here with us. You can see their thing hanging against that one. Now, Monsieur Serra's wife, one of the Ojibwe, one of the native women. Very good thing for him. Imagine coming out here, this man from just outside of London, coming out here where all the customers speak very well. She doesn't need to worry about whether the hunting's. So this is where the Ojibwe are going to come in, bring in all the different sorts of furs, and decide whatever it is they want about it. Out of the furs, of course, Monsieur Serra, he wants the beaver furs most because of those hats. Everything here gets valued in how many beavers it's worth. If you want to buy a blanket or a cooking pot or an axe or whatever, how many beavers does it cost? If you bring in some other fur, how many beavers is that worth?
Oh, okay.
So, to give a couple of examples, say you want this axe. It's going to make things a lot easier gathering firewood. The Ojibwe have basically no metal tools prior to the Europeans come. There were some copper, but they were trading with other native groups to get those. They didn't have anything like that themselves.
Okay.
So, this is going to be very useful. 2 beaver furs.
Oh, okay.
The average hunter's bringing about 40 beaver furs worth of furs each winter. So 2, that's not so bad, especially considering how useful it is.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you bring in a wolf instead, a big animal, harder to get, that's going to be worth as much as 3 beaver furs.
Okay.
So you could buy this and then have some left over. Or let's say you wanted to buy it with raccoons. 4 raccoons to be worth the same as 1 beaver. Or 21 squirrels to be worth the same as 1 beaver. You'd have to bring in 42 squirrels if you wanted to buy these. Much easier to get 2 beaver. Now, many other things. Probably the most sought after out of all the different things here, just the cooking pot. Now, most people think, well, everyone has one of those. But again, very little metal for the native. When you start comparing those 7 beavers to making these, it's going to be worth it. It's worth 7 furs. What this would be worth?
20.
Monsieur Serra, this is just a business out here. There's no soldiers. Like during the American fur trade, they bring soldiers with them to enforce whatever they want. During the British fur trade, there are no soldiers here. So if the Ojibwe didn't want us here, I mean, could you imagine 8 voyageurs surrounded by 1,000 Ojibwe out here? If they didn't want us to be here, we wouldn't be here. So both sides, during this time period at least, are working together.
Oh, okay.
Now, do you have any questions about any of the...
I recorded. Yeah, see the fort.
Look, Xavier. Ow, look, apple no.
Wow.
Apple. Why don't you go fishing?
Snake River, Kelvin.
Look at this. More? You know what?
Kelvin, you're the fort. Where you at, dude?